What's up, everybody? I'm Almost Apple here with TE Studios, and today I'm joined by
Dusty Novels
and Felt Soul.
And we're going to be bringing you part 3 of our newer segment, Why Do I Work Here? The segment in which we all talk about or tell stories about our regular 9-to-5s, 9-to-7s, 12-hour days,
in your case,
16-hour
forever.
days. You know, who are we kidding? Some people cloping. We open the store and we close the store at the same time. Like, you know, it's all in the same day for some of us. But these are some of our more comedic stories. And we're each going to tell a story. It should be pretty short. My story is going to be called Who You Gonna Call? Novel's story is going to be called
They Hang So Low.
And Felt's story is going to be called
Scat Happens.
then,
We know just where this is going.
Novels has decided he'd like to go first.
Thank you very much, Apple. And if you didn't know from our previous stories, I have been a pharmacy technician / delivery driver. But this story actually goes back to my very...
Pharmaceutical courier.
You're right, pharmaceutical courier. That's
We don't want to demean our job.
Exactly.
So that's like a Pizza Boys delivery promotion, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, yes.
To make us feel like we actually have an importance.
This story actually goes back to my very first job, where I worked at a very small local pharmacy. And I didn't start out as a technician, but a delivery driver. This was actually the end of my 2 weeks of training, the very last day. So I did most of it. I still had someone there training me, following me with each and every single step, but I actually went to the individual customers. I dealt with the change I was given, gave them change back, and, you know, have a good day and all that good stuff. Well, the person who was training me at the time, I'm going to name him Derek. It's not his real name, but I'm going to name him that for the purpose of this story. He was kind of a douchebag, a little bit. So he saved one stop for last. I didn't know much about it, obviously, being my first 2 weeks. I didn't understand the customer base. Well, this customer, and there's a reason for this, he had me go up to the door by myself to handle this older lady. And he knocked on the door, and he stepped aside to where it was just me. He went around the corner, and he was listening in, and for a very good reason. The lady had come to the door. And giving the name of my story, you'll already go ahead and guess that, yes, she was indeed naked when she came to the door. So, no gown that was just, had gone wrong, just completely birthday suit all the way. And she was, as I just mentioned, on the older side of things, so it wasn't the most pleasant sight. And really, it's not about her being naked that stunned me. I mean, it did, don't get me wrong, it's not like I expected this. But what got me was what she asked. See, I was delivering some medicine for her. I'm not going to go into detail what it was, but it was
a feminine, hygiene-based product.
I was like, please say clothes. Please say clothing.
Ma'am, your clothing is here.
It was a cream, though. Anyway. I know you know where this is going. Okay. So I had gotten there, and unlike how this usually plays out with me going, hey, ma'am, I'm here with your medicine, and I tell her the amount, she gives me the money, and if it's change, I make change, and then that's pretty much it. I give her a receipt, have her sign, boom, done. No. Our conversation started out with, can you help me put this medicine where it needs to be? I don't know where I want to go with this.
Applied?
Yeah. So the first thing out of her mouth was for me to help her apply this medicine that I had brought her. So in protest, I told her that I could not apply or help apply this medicine. Well, any words that I told her just immediately left her. So just in one ear and out the other, because she began to lift a certain part of her body to reveal the
affected area.
Yeah, the affected area. And it was pretty persistent about me applying this. Now, while this was happening, and this was, granted, my second week, and already wanting to turn away and quit my job after encountering this, the person, my coworker who was training me, was dying around the corner, just laughing. I could hear it, and she couldn't. She was more focused on who was in front of her. That happened to be me, and who needed to apply this cream to a very inappropriate area. Well, after a good probably 10-15 minutes of insisting that I leave right now and I cannot apply this, I am sorry. If you have any questions, please call the pharmacy. I can't help you any further. I eventually did escape with a permanent scar and fear of ever going back to that place, in which I delivered to every day for almost 3 years, and had similar stories to tell almost every time I came back to the pharmacy. That was the very first day that I had to ask that question. Why do I work here?
So, all of you may remember that this is the part where the other people engaging in this ask questions, and feel free to ask your own questions in the comment section or at our email, and we'll be more than happy to get back to you. Novels, I think my question to you...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I gotta go first. I got a comedic one.
Yeah, go ahead.
How hard was it to hide your erection? Thank God I got that out. I'm done.
I have no answer to that, because I hope it's obvious that I didn't have that. Apple.
There are so many things that I want to ask.
It's such a target-rich area. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's...
Every day.
Mm-hmm.
Was she like that on every time
She
you
didn't
had
come.
to make
No,
a
she
delivery?
didn't come to the door naked, thankfully, every day, and she didn't act so out of place every day. But it certainly happened a few times. This was just the time that I remember the best, because it was my very first odd incident that happened at work.
So, as you were leaving, did anybody stop you and go, "Smile, you're on candid camera"?
You know what? You got me. It really was just a show. Candid camera, you know it. No, nothing like that. No. Although, the question I did get from that lovely coworker of mine was, how soon would you like to come back here today? So that was pretty much it when we come to questions that day.
Wow.
Oh, and then I was made a laughing stock for the first probably good month of my job there. So
Now that Dusty's gotten an eyeful, I guess it's time we move on to my segment. Who are you gonna call? And if you're like me, that automatically clicks you back to that mid-1980s hit Ghostbusters, and there's a reason for that, and here's why. If you watched the first few episodes, you know what I do for a living. If you didn't, here you go. I have pretty much spent my entire working life in the food industry, restaurants and such, whether it be customer service or actually preparing the food itself. At the time of this story, I had pretty much just started at the job I'm at now. I started entry level, I was working in the kitchen. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, at the time of this story, it was a weekday. If my memory serves, it was a Wednesday or a Thursday. It was after midnight. It was probably like 2 or 3 in the morning. Weekdays were really slow, and we didn't really do very much work. I mean, that was when we got a lot of our deep cleaning out of the way. We prepped a lot of food. We would make all kinds of things for the service the next day and whatnot. You might actually probably cook for maybe 20, 25 people the entire night, and that was like a busy weekday night. So, it was pretty easy to keep track of everybody who came in and out of the front door, even from my position, because I could see the door and I could see guests that came in and left. Well, it was me, a manager, and a server. I'm sitting there just doing my thing, portioning stuff, putting things from bigger bags into smaller bags, big box to little box, little back into the big box, There's one table in here, a bunch of drunk college kids, they're just chilling out in the corner, eating. That's cool and all. I'm just sitting here minding my own business, got my headphones in, putting spinach in bags. I look up and a gentleman comes in. He kind of stops up there by the register. And he's looking around for a minute. I'm assuming my manager and the server on duty were off doing whatever at the time. But he begins to walk over to the side of the dining room where everybody's sitting, but he hasn't been sat. And he kind of goes around the corner, so I know that he's going to the bathroom. In preparation for this, I go get ready to start making food. I set up a few things that are most commonly. I drop some things that come with almost everything on our menu because I expect to have to make them, and I want to crank that food out as quickly as I can so I can get right back to doing what I was doing. Because I always had like a little TV set up in the corner. I had like a laptop, and I would watch TV while I did my work. Don't look at me like that, Novels. It was dead. Like there was no customers. Like I got all my work done. My boss knew what I was doing, and they didn't have a problem with it. So a few minutes go by, and I'm like, man, that's weird. Normally I would have gotten this order by now. So I walk out the kitchen, and keep in mind that the entire time I've been able to see the front door. I've been looking at the front door this whole time. This gentleman's never left. So I go out to the other side of the room, and I go to the manager, and I'm like, hey, has that gentleman placed his order yet? And the server looks at me all confused, and the manager does too, and they were like, has who placed an order? I was like, the gentleman that came in a minute ago. He went to the bathroom, but I mean, he had to have sat by now. I mean, I saw him like 10 minutes ago. They're like, no, nobody's left, and I was outside smoking a cigarette. I mean, I did see the guy come in, but I thought so-and-so took care of him. Well, no. So they start looking around to try to see if they could find him. Maybe he sat off somewhere where nobody could see him. They forgot about him, whatnot. They check all over the place. They come to me a few minutes later and like, "Hey, Apple, I can't find this guy." Alright, it was a dude, so, I worked with a female manager and there was a female service. I was like, "I'll go check the bathroom. I'm sure he's in there. Maybe he's just having, some stomach problems. Who knows what's going on. Maybe he had too much to drink." Go check the men's room. Sure enough, he's actually not there. So, alright, this is weird. So I go out the door, I'm immediately greeted by my manager, where she's like, "Was he in there?" And I'm like, "No." And she just kind of glances over at the women's room and is like, "You don't think?" And I was like, I don't know, maybe. So she goes and checks the women's room. Nobody in there. At this moment, my manager actually starts freaking out. And she's like, "Alright, you come with me," because I'm the only male in the entire building at this time. And I guess that my presence was making her feel more comfortable at the time. We went around, we searched the entire dish pit, we searched the walk-ins where we store food, we checked the manager's office, the back parking lot, the dumpster area, we even went up on the roof. Somehow, this man managed to enter the building, go to the bathroom, was seen entering the bathroom by the guests sitting in the corner of the room at the table, but not me, not the server, who was smoking a cigarette out front of the store, the manager, who was sitting in clear view of the door, nor did any of the 4 college kids sitting in the corner of the room were they able to see this man leave. He just, poof, vanished into thin air. Security camera footage never saw him leave either. We did have a few blind spots, so obviously he had to leave out through a blind spot, but we don't know how, because if you go out the back door in the kitchen, it's alarmed. It makes a buzzing noise, this way you know the alarm's open. If you open the 2 fire escape doors, they're rigged to fire alarms, and you hear this loud school bell type ringing. So you'd know if somebody exited out of one of those doors. So to this day, I still have to ask myself, where did that guy go, and why do I work here? Questions.
Alright, so I'm going to be the first to ask a question, so sorry, Phil, just going to ignore you right there. And I'm a little upset, Apple. You didn't tell me you had star guests like David Blaine or Chris Angel. People showing up like that?
Well, you see, they're on the high-profile guest list, and I'm not actually supposed to tell anybody that they're there because they don't want to be bothered.
Okay, gotcha.
So
We got one of those too.
HIPAA. It's called HIPAA.
So I'll get you an autograph next time.
Much appreciated. Phil?
I honestly, I don't have a question. My question was, did you check the security feed, which you stated you did?
I thought he was actually insane. Honestly, I was going to, because at first it was just him who had saw this individual. So
I thought I was the only person that saw him at first, and then my manager came back and was like, "Oh yeah, wait, I know who you're talking about. No, I haven't seen him either."
Well, I was kind of hoping the whole time I was thinking of questions, and whenever it was all just you, I was going to do insanity plea. So
then, Felt, I guess if you don't have any questions, why don't you go ahead and get on started with your story.
Alright guys, Philip Soul here. This took place a couple of months ago, and if you watch the previous videos, like Novels myself, I am currently a pharmaceutical courier. This took place just about at the end of my route, and I went to one of my stops in a magical city, which will not be named.
Narnia.
Yes!
Narnia.
Yeah, but anyway, this took place towards the end of my route for the night. I was going to one of my homes, and of course, all is well. I've delivered the medication, and I had her sign for it. So I got back in my car, and a couple of minutes later, about 5 or 6, I was hit with this ungodly smell that smelled like crap, and I could not figure out for the life of me where it was coming from. I just kind of, when I got to the stoplight in the next city, the light turned red, and I just took that time to put the car in park, and I just kind of looked at the bottom of my shoe, and then, nothing. So I was like, I was like, maybe I just ran something over, and it's just on the tire. So, just driving along, smelling this ungodly smell, and I finally get to my last stop. So I put the car in park, and at this point, I was just angry, because it was just so horrible. And so, of course, I got out the car, I got my medicine, and I scanned it, blah, 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 all the stuff we have to do, and got everything prepared for her signature. And so, I got to the door, and just the smell hit me again. And then that was the last straw, and I was like, all right, that's it. What does it smell? Looked at both the bottom of both my shoes, and I seen nothing. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is absolutely agitating me, and I can't take it anymore. So I just got absolutely fed up. So I'm like, all right, this is stupid. This is aggravating me. Where is this retarded smell coming from? And so I took my hand and I brushed it on the other side of my shoe. I was like, nothing. So I don't know why I smell crap. This is ridiculous. And I grabbed my other hand, and then I swiped it across my other shoe, and then pulled my hand back, and there was crap all over my left hand, everywhere. I mean, it was just all over my hand. And then, the absolute minute I swiped my hand on my shoe, and there was crap absolutely everywhere. The second I did that, the lady at the home opens the door. And so there I am with crap all over my left hand, and she answers the door. And at this point, I'm like, great. Now I'm stuck here at this door with dookie all over my hand. So after that, the next thing that rolls in my mind, in which, guys, you need to go, I got crap on my left hand, right? And so when they have to sign for the medication, they have to sign for it on a cell phone. And I keep that cell phone in my left pocket. So you can imagine my struggle trying to, have a bag of medication in my right hand, as well as trying to reach in my left pocket with said right hand, while trying to hide my left hand behind my back. And, rub my shoe all over the floor, concrete, or a rug if they have one, which unfortunately they didn't have one outside. And so I'm doing this little dance in front of this lady who doesn't know what's going on until about 10 seconds later, and the smell hits her. So, she never said anything, but you can tell by her face. She knew what had happened, or roughly what is going on. So, yep. And it turns out the reason why I couldn't see all the crap on my shoe is because I didn't step in it. It was stuck to the entire inside of my left shoe. And so when I swiped, it just got all over my fingers, and then I, of course, made a fist like an idiot. And then just, and I was like, oh, this is wet and disgusting. Opened my hand and, just boom, turd everywhere. So I had to drive back to the pharmacy, which I was about an hour and a half away from the pharmacy. So, she closed the door after all this went down, and I wiped my hand all over her floor. I mean, I just wanted to get rid of the smell. I was after the smell. I was absolutely livid. I wanted the smell and the crap gone off my hand. I was bugging out. I don't think she noticed, at least immediately. I've been back to that place several times since, and nobody said anything. So
I bet you get that porch with some memories.
Yeah, and which I now have. I now have napkins all over my car in case of emergencies like this. Because at the time this happened, I didn't have napkins, I didn't have water, I didn't have any. I had a little bottle of water that I had to drink with, and then I just poured a little bit of it on my hand, and then just wiped my hand all over the grass, the concrete, their rug, or little mat they have outside that said welcome. And then I actually used little latex rubber gloves to kind of just wipe as much as I could, as well as like empty medicine bags, anything to get the smell off of it. Which I remember to throw in the trash, not to put back on the rack for us to fill. That way we don't fill it with medication.
I'll appreciate that.
Yeah, but anyway, so I had to drive back to the pharmacy for an hour and a half with dookie all over my hands and my feet. And and what sucked, because nothing ever your nose never itches, and you never really have to scratch anything until you can't. Because the minute I got back in the car, my eye itched, my nose itched. I kept wanting to run my hand through my hair, but I couldn't. So I had to drive back to the pharmacy, and that stench. And I actually got back to the pharmacy, and we shall call him Jerry, the a really tall coworker. He actually walked in about a minute after I did, and I just hear him. I was in the bathroom, and I just hear him shout. He goes, "God, it smells like." He goes, "It smells straight up like shh," and he just I was just like, wow. He was like, what is that smell? And like,
I would have popped out the door and been like, guess what?
it's me.
It's what you thought it was.
Yeah, so I came out of the bathroom about a minute after that, after I was done washing my hands and scrubbing the stank off of me, and I just explained that whole ordeal to him. But anyway, after all that, like the entire pharmacy for that night smelled like crap while me and him were there. And then, you know, at that point, I would just ask myself, why do I work here?
Solid question after that night.
I actually have a really good question for you. Would you say that you consider yourself a scat man? Beep, ba, 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 da, bo. No?
Not gonna tackle that one.
I got nothing.
Okay, at any point with that stop that you made with that customer, you know, with your hand completely discolored, did you feel the need or the want to just completely leave and just not deal with anyone else that night? I don't think I could have.
Yeah, for sure. Look, it was oddly enough my last stop, and by the time and the minute I swiped my hand on my shoe and
She had come to the door.
I wasn't thinking about leaving. I was just like, how the hell am I gonna, like, Dookie on the hand, Dookie on the shoe, and I just smell like Dookie. Period. Like, she's gonna know in some way, shape, or form. So I just gotta hide it as best I could.
And now her front porch and cushions.
So, I have a follow-up, because I just can't ask one question.
Oh, good, because I don't.
I actually have a serious question. At no point in time did she or you consider to ask to use the restroom. Nor did you pass a gas station that was open on your entire ride back to town.
Oddly enough,
If it's where I think you are, there should be nothing open.
no. Where I was, there is only one.
I think it's in our place, more or less.
Actually, the only place I could have washed my hands more is I'd have to go back to the pharmacy and then keep going to the Flash Foods
Yeah.
down the road from us, or down the road from the pharmacy. Yeah, so I mean, there was no way out. There was no place. See, the facilities we deliver to are not always, you know, big, gigantic 2, 3, 4-story buildings. I mean, we literally deliver to trailers with just 1 or 2 people in it.
Gotcha.
And this was just like, you know, just a regular, you know, brick home. It wasn't massive, but it was a decent size. A lot of the places we go to are very anal about. Poor choice of words there, Felt.
Yes, very
choice
poor
of
choice.
words. A bunch of the people we deliver to are very stingy and picky about who they let into the house, and they won't even let us inside the house. So I didn't even bother asking. That was my
That's your story.
crappy night, literally.
Literally.
All right, at the risk of this day getting any grosser between y'all's stories,
Oh yeah, because both our stories are pretty out there in the way of hygiene.
once again, I'd like to remind everybody this has been Why Do I Work Here, and I've been Almost Apple, joined with
Dusty Novels.
And Felt Soul.
And we're going to remind you guys to be heard and stay
Come on.
in touch
No,
with
no.
us.
You almost got it, man. Halfway. Good job. But no, it's not that. It's be heard and stay interactive.
That too.
Hey, I see you stayed for the end card. Well, in that case, you're simply awesome just for that. And if you like this video, which I imagine you do if you stayed this long, how about you like and share and most certainly subscribe so you don't miss out on a single video like this one. That'd be in the bottom right box. Speaking of which, if you want to watch a related video of ours, you can click on the top left box. Or let us suggest one for you, in that case, top right. Or if you just want that little bit of extra in your life and you just want a random one thrown your way, take a risk and click on the bottom left box. From all of us here at the studio, we want to remind you to be heard and stay interactive, and we'll see you next time.